Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at audibletrial.com/bonfiresidechat. Over 100,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player.
Some of our landings were desperate adventures. We are now prepared to meet the inevitable counterattacks with power and with confidence.
My name is Gary Butterfield.
My name is Kole Ross.
My name is Bob Mackey.
And you're listening to Bonfireside Chat. It is an undead favorite.
And for this episode, we are talking about Worlds 4.2 and 4.3 of Demon's Souls, concluding the Shrine of Storms. And as you heard, we are joined once again, gladly, by Bob Mackey of Retronauts. Hi, Bob.
Hi, happy to be here. I love the episode, and I love all the Souls games.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We are very happy to have you here. So Retronauts. You also guested on that that live episode we did, and we very gratefully showed up on your live episode, which was fun.
Yeah, that was a great 2 episodes we did together, and I definitely recommend anyone who hasn't, please download the Mario Kart one we put together. A lot of fun.
Yeah. Yes, and also listen to Retronauts.
Yes.
Which on the record of the podcast, one of the very few that I've listened to every single episode of.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, and I love it. Good work.
We're all great.
We all grand.
Yeah,
I think we made the same series of jokes at the last time you were on.
but since we repeat it, it means it's true. So
that's true, and it's been
now
a while.
running joke. So
there we go. It went from inside joke to running joke, and then eventually it will be dead joke in the life cycle.
It'll be the Sideshow Bob stepping on rakes of your podcast.
You mean the best thing about that episode? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll accept it. So last episode, we scoured the surface of the Shrine of Storms, vanquishing the Vanguard, and learning how to deal with the cartwheeling skeletons. Heading further into the windswept cliffs, we defeated the Adjudicator's excess and found ourselves in a world of shit vis-a-vis Grim Reapers.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, climbing into the more permanent structures of the Shrine of Storms, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think we talked about last time. I think we talked about what you can do with the Adjudicator's soul, just to make sure we don't forget it. Yeah, meat cleaver,
we have made a habit of this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the meat cleaver.
Yeah, fucking love that weapon.
Which
so
will
much.
help you quite a bit in this next section. I found on my meat cleaver run, I had the easiest time with 4.2.
Yeah. Have you done a meat cleaver run, Bob?
I haven't. I tend to favor. I'm not as creative as you guys are. I tend to stick with what I know, just because I'm sort of a coward when it comes to Souls games. Still, even though I put so many hours into them, so I'm kind of into Magic and Demon Souls just because it is so overpowered. And like I said, I like the easier path in life.
Yeah.
It's not just easier; it's also fun to have that extra. When you get a new Demon Souls,
it is true. Yeah,
a new powerful
and I mean, Valley Development still kicks my ass every time, so don't get me wrong.
Yeah, that's a major point, actually. Like new spells, you can rotate those out pretty quick, but once you come to rely on a weapon like the meat cleaver, I don't think I've used a single other melee weapon since I got it this run.
Yeah, just put all those souls into any of the 3 stats that scale amazingly.
Yeah.
With it,
so any of the 25% of the stats that you have.
Yeah.
I should note that this is the first time I played through the game actually knowing what I was doing. I finished it the first time not knowing anything, just sort of going by the seat of my pants. I had a horrible build. I didn't know anything about anything, and this time I sort of went into it with my knowledge of Dark Souls, so the character's much more focused. And I guess I knew Magic last time, but now Magic is my focus for this one.
Quick question: what's a horrible build? I'm actually kind of curious.
It's one that you I think in Demon Souls and in Dark Souls you sort of have to keep in mind ahead of time where you want your character to go.
Right.
And my first time playing through, I was like, I'll just put a stat here because that looks fun, and like I didn't understand, look up weapons you want to use before you want to use them because you need to sort of build towards them. Mm-hmm. So yeah, this time I'm much more informed, which is made for a much more fun playthrough.
Right. Yeah, the default Toucan Sam build. You just follow your nose.
Yeah, that happened to me with Dark Souls, not with Demon Souls. But the reason it happened to me was that I recognized that it was costing more and more souls to level up, but I didn't really understand the implication of that. That these early levels are actually really important because they're the only ones I'm going to get cheap. And at this point, if I'm 1 point away from being able to use a weapon in 5 hours, it's going to mean a bigger deal than it is right now.
And I don't know why I didn't use wikis or anything the first time I played through. Maybe it was like a point of pride or just not knowing that it was sort of necessary. But I think it took a good 30 hours before I realized how multiplayer worked in Demon Souls. And then once I did, I'm like, oh my god, I could have had such an easier time if I would have actually looked this up.
Right.
Yeah. The tendency effect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
is what we like to call that. Yeah. So we get started pretty much right where we left off, heading out the other side of this kind of chamber onto the opposite cliff face from where we start in 401. In this kind of like windswept cliffside area, and you're immediately greeted by this entrance to this cavern, and you're getting harassed by these kind of sky. What are they called? The sky beast.
Yeah, storm beasts.
Storm beast. Yeah. Storm beast immediately. So again, just reinforcing the thief's ring is your friend here. I've always had it. Like I've never gotten through this stretch without it.
Yeah. So for me, my first playthrough, I never relied on the Thieves' Ring until well after I got through this. I really only went and got the Thieves' Ring and started leaning on it as a crutch after like 5.1 and 5.2.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's also really useful there.
Yeah. So I got through this without it initially, and this playthrough for the show, I ended up just kind of really, really appreciating it.
Yeah, aggro range is so huge with those guys.
Yeah.
Being able to affect that. But yeah, you immediately go in because that's what you do, and you run into your old friend Grave Robber Blige,
or as I call him,
Harry J.
Yes, or as I call him, Benign Patches.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He actually drops a lot of the lore about this area that we talked about last episode.
Is it just me, or does this area seem to be kind of lacking in that aspect? Maybe I just wasn't finding it, lacking in lore.
It's there. We touched on a lot of stuff in the last episode, but it lends itself more to conjecture.
Okay.
Yeah. I think than the other areas of the game.
Yeah, and it's very like endemic to the area itself, as opposed to having any real implications on the meta plot, right?
Yeah, that's what I was sort of getting to. Like, I'm not sure how this area is relevant to the entire, Demon Souls story.
In whatever way it is, I think it's the fact that Urbane is here. I don't think we ever quite got to that bottom of that mystery, but whatever he's doing here, I think is probably the answer to that question, but I don't know if we quite figured that out.
Yeah. Just the idea that this is a corrupt place that is a spot for pilgrims to go to in order to prove themselves just kind of says, like, okay, this fits in with the church and probably not much else.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the church like plays into the meta Demon Souls plot in the biggest possible way. Like the same way, the big questions that we had about Dark Souls, with which serpent was the correct one and or the good one, I guess, and what that really meant to beat it. The essential question of Demon Souls is what is the actual god, like what is the old one.
Right.
So having the church is like really important to what's going on. So it's not it is only connected to the church, but the church is really central,
right?
Into the grand plot. So
yeah.
But he also warns you about Patches.
Yeah, he does.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
He says Patches is going about it all wrong. My family's been in this for generations.
Yep.
And if you get a chance, just slit his throat in his sleep. I love the implication of you going,
I actually don't mind Patches.
Yeah,
I'm immune to all his tricks at this point.
Pretty much. Like I was, when I was playing it tonight, I was like, I should probably kill Patches just to see, like my character would probably kill this person, but I've never killed him.
You know what? I did it the first time that I played through the game because I wasn't aware of the ramifications of killing an NPC. But after he did that, I'm like, no one does that to me. It's like you can't get away with that. Just expect me to be your friend. And then I found out that he sells really valuable items that you might need, and I was like, oh damn it! But I still beat the game. I just understood live and let live in Demon's Souls, I guess.
Yeah. It's also one of those things where, as we just said, another NPC explicitly tells you his life is worth nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I killed him in Dark Souls on my cleric run because I couldn't not be honest. Like, where he's, are you a cleric or something? Well, like, I'm playing as a cleric. Yes, I am. And then he attacked me. So, which makes sense why he's here and why he kind of holds that cleric grudge. And this area is actually kind of similar to the catacombs in that way, as a place where the church makes pilgrimages.
In a fuckload of ways.
Yeah, so I mean, that's where you're going to find Patches. Like, he's a very specialized bandit. Like, he only steals from clerics who are on pilgrimages. So,
yeah, but yeah, grave robber Blige. He warns you off of him, but he also sells you all of your arrows, which you're going to need if you're going to level up at all in this game.
Yeah. This being the best leveling up spot in any of the Souls games.
Yeah, until you get to 3-3.
Yeah. So.
But yeah,
I like this better than I like 3-3 actually.
Or no, not 3-3. Sorry, 4-3. Like the Starbular. Yeah.
I still like this better for leveling up.
Okay.
I can do a Reaper run in less time than I can kill a handful of Storm Beasts.
Okay.
Yeah, give it a shot sometime. Like I just run back and forth at 5,000 souls a pop. Yeah. Like I can each one is like 45 seconds.
I think that on the balance, I've probably gotten more souls out of this, but just the fact that I've gotten a higher per run rate of return on the Storm Beast, not taking time into account, that's probably what's tricking me into making these statements I'm making.
And you have to teleport back. Like, you can't just touch the Archstone to respawn everything.
Yeah,
so it's not like a bonfire.
I just straight up jump off cliffs though.
Yeah,
so,
that's true. Yeah. Anywho, you're introduced to those, Soul Pinata characters who are actually like a pretty big threat as well. Like, they're very easy to level up against, but are a cool concept gameplay wise and useful.
Yeah, they introduced them through a cinematic too. Like when you step on that pressure plate to open up that door, like all of a sudden, hey, death is here.
Mm-hmm. I thought he was going to be unique. Oh yeah.
Or he or she, I don't know what it is, but
yeah, we all lose our gender when we die. We die and they tear off our extra rib, and then everyone's the same.
Well, except for the ratio of the pelvic bowl to the shoulders.
Yeah, you need like a pair of calipers for that, though. Okay. Everyone in heaven, skeleton heaven, are walking around with calipers. Just in the dating scene is just dire and boring.
You know what? Skeleton heaven has awesome, just Bud Light bucket deals.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
$5.
Yeah, $5 for 5 buds. It's pretty great.
Except you can't actually drink the beer; it just kind of spills out through your rib cage.
Pretty much, yeah. But
just soaking it.
Probably the best golden tea machines I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Run by those golden skeletons from here. I thought this was going to be a unique enemy. Like, I thought, this is the Grim Reaper, and like, there's a mini boss of some kind.
But there are 3 of them.
Yep. The Reaper's 3.
Yeah.
Now, is there any sort of story behind? I mean, I know you guys. You thought up a lot of interesting explanations for the channelers. Do they have a similar sort of explanation to them? The death characters, or is it just like, that's a cool enemy? I don't recall any sort of dialogue about them. They just seem to be very unique in their design.
Yeah, there's no one mentions them. Like, this area was a testing ground for warriors, or on their way to to be tested. So I can see why they can manipulate the ghost, or whatever we want to call the Shadow Man. Yeah. But I also wonder if they're here as if they're native, or if they are something similar to like the Fat Officials, and they're one of the big YouTube lore meisters, Smotown. When he talked about this area, he feels like there's a lot of this is where demons are being created.
Okay.
And he's got, he has several points to back it up, some of which I buy, some of which I don't. But this would support that. if these were an outside presence.
Yeah, they might be similar to the guards, the Illithids in 3.1 and 3.2. In that they could be servants of the demons in order to kind of just be there to bolster the forces, to stop people from coming in and harvesting the souls, which might be a limited resource from this really lucrative area where demons might come to feed, right? So protect these souls from the mortals for the demons, right?
And something we haven't touched on, and I'm kind of surprised we haven't touched on at all, is that all of these kind of counter forces, if they're from the outside, they could just be literally there to stop you from fighting the archdemon, because you kill enough archdemons that unlocks the soul to the old one.
Right.
So I mean, if they're here for that reason, in addition to protecting it as a feeding ground, they also could be protecting it as just, hey, we don't want anyone to kill the Storm King because that's one step closer to getting to our guy.
Right. Our
and
guy
that's very
being
gameplay.
the guy. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, but also possible.
Yeah, so like there's no direct kind of thing, so I think that, I mean, at least what I just offered is my best summation of what might be happening. So
make up whatever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it is a skeleton with a cloak that has a scythe.
It's so weird. It was really jarring when I first saw these guys as well, since it's such a piece of iconic imagery.
Yeah.
Like it's not it doesn't feel like it's sprung from Demon Souls. It feels like an enemy that could be in a Castlevania or in Gauntlet or any, has been and will be again in any number of video games, which is not a very Demon Souls thing to do, So that was really off-putting to me. As a design.
It was like the overused Halloween costume of the Demon Souls universe.
Do you like scary movies? Here's some Shadow Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that by the time I got to this, granted, I played Demon Souls second, but I'd heard enough comparisons between the Souls series and Castlevania to just kind of accept it. Which, not a great excuse, but I was like, oh, okay. So this, having been established as the graveyard for the world, I'm not going to be too piqued by the presence of a Reaper or two. Yeah,
and just visually, it just struck me as odd, especially contrasting it with the the Storm Beast, which is a really original and interesting design. But I still like them a lot from a gameplay perspective. Their kind of gimmick is that they can summon unlimited shadow lurkers, which are just kind of big dumb giants of that come up and slowly swipe at you. You have them in the notes as dumb Ico enemies, which is pretty apt.
Yeah, almost exactly. They have the glowing eye. They're made entirely of incorporeal light energy. Yeah. And it's not until they get to you get to the second Reaper where they become laser eye Cyclopses Beamsmith kind of creatures. But at least here, for me, it's just kind of how quickly can you get rid of the first Reaper from a distance until you're attacked by one of these guys.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, this is a successful iteration of what the Catacombs tried to do and kind of failed.
Right.
So I think we talked about in the Catacombs episode, I think that you were meant to go through that area as a mad, stressful dash to try to get from Necromancer to Necromancer. However, everyone waits to do it later and just uses a divine weapon. So they just play like a normal enemy or a normal area with weak enemies. This works great. The second run between this Reaper and the next one, holy shit. That is so hard. And it's so stressful to get down to him and then have him not kill you by magic missiling you through your shield. And I think this was what the Catacombs were meant to be. Yeah.
The grounds for success with both the Catacombs and this is changing the rhythm of combat, and here it works substantially better.
Yeah. Well, and also there's not the instant cheat. There's not the divine weapon.
Yeah, I guess that's what I mean. If you have the cheat, it doesn't change the rhythm. You just kill some skeletons until you kill it with a lantern.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So but here it makes it kind of like a considered stop and start until you get to the thing that'll kill. Also, the bigger difference between the two is that these things respawn. When you kill a Necromancer, it doesn't come back. Here, you have to do it every single time. Otherwise, this village, this level would be a ghost town.
Right. And quite literally. And there are no shortcuts in this level.
Right.
So I think there's a little bit of goofiness you can do rolling off of ledges if you know exactly how to do it in that second area.
Like you can skip the first Reaper, and then you can kind of skip over the second Reaper just a little bit by making a mad dash. But yeah, the third run, no dice.
Yeah, and that one's designed to punish you for doing that.
Yep.
That one magic missiles you in the back. So
is it the guy that is sort of hidden in the alcove? Or like hidden behind a corner?
That's the second one, but
okay.
but the third one, because it's kind of in the same arena but a little bit lower.
Gotcha.
Yeah, anything you skip over will come back to get you, especially with the beam guys and also the Reaper himself being able to do the soul arrows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. They're bastards. But when you kill the Reaper, all the Shadow Lurkers die, and they die as if you had killed them, so you get all of the souls.
Yeah.
Which is why this is such a good soul farming spot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there are no slouches on their own, like
right.
the Reapers, even without the Shadow Lurkers.
Yeah, they're kind of what's the similar long-armed demon? The ghosts in Anne Orlando. They're pretty similar to that in that they have kind of this otherworldly way of moving and extending their arms to do that, to attack you rather. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this is kind of a combination of a couple of different areas, but it's a little bit of a break once you get outside of the cliffs. But there's a little detour that you can take here that we alluded to with Patches. But this is where you get your primary miracle vendor, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Patches kicks you down the same way he does in Dark Souls.
Nope.
By tempting you, and he explicitly says it, at this point, like, I'm going to wait for you to starve to death and sell your things. Which I didn't realize, like, how boring of a job that must be.
That is
a long time without.
It's a long-term business plan.
Yeah, exactly. It's a like a what is it, a CD as opposed to a stock.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Yeah.
Which just if you have money and you're thinking of I'm going to buy a CD, don't fucking do that.
Yeah.
Like, interest rates are so low. What are you doing?
It used to. That's something our generation won't have again. That used to be a good idea.
Oh yeah,
that was like the best idea, and now it's 0.025 interest on minimum $1,000.
Like, which is less than I can do if I just put it into my mattress.
If you just hope to find $10,
it's less than the rate of inflation. You fuckers, stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm so angry.
Kole hates the FDIC.
So, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. So he kicks you down like a big jerk. Mm-hmm. And there's a surprise down here. There is a Black Phantom wielding the. I think he's wielding the Makoto.
Oh yeah.
He doesn't drop it, but I think that's what his weapon is.
Huh.
The Makoto's in the area, which I could understand that.
Yeah. I think he's like a Phantom Makoto. Yeah, and then the Makoto is just frustratingly like the same way that I regularly reach to get things on top of my fridge. The Makoto is like a scant 7 inches away from the top of my head.
You're a tall dude. Like, a fridge is like as tall as your head. What the fuck?
Well, I just mean I can reach up. I can comfortably extend my arm.
Whereas your Demon Souls character can't. Okay.
Yes,
sorry.
that's all.
I was going to say... Okay, so in my reality that I just challenged you on, I assumed that you did not know.
Based on?
I assumed you didn't know your shoulders could rotate by more than 90 degrees. So, continuing on.
Strong assumption. However, that's not what
I assumed you were Bob Dole. Okay, come on.
Yeah. I'm holding a pet.
So anyway, it's up there. That is like what is that? White Phantom, Black Phantom. Yeah,
white wolf tendency.
Yeah, white wolf tendency. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
To get that and take it back to Satsuke in order to have him kill you.
Yes, like a jerk.
As you do.
But Urbane.
Yeah. Urbane is here. I haven't gotten far enough rather in my playthrough to have his plot conclude itself. However, we've alluded several times to the fact that the church that Urbane is a part of might just be worshiping the same old one that Frake is worshiping. So, yeah.
Yeah, and maybe doesn't know it.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, his dialogue is pretty interesting, and we'll probably talk about it a lot during the next episode because he mostly talks about the Valley of Defilement.
Right.
That's his main point of of order for some reason, as opposed to the Shrine of Storms where we found him. Have you done very much with miracles, Bob?
You know what? I really haven't touched them in Demon Souls, just because magic is so powerful, and you always have so many healing items.
Yeah. And they're garbage.
Yeah,
They're like even more garbage than Dark Souls, and that's hard.
I so quickly abandoned my my miracle playthrough. I wanted to do a faith guy once I found out that the meat cleaver was an option. That I never bought any miracles ever at all.
The only miracle that's worth a damn is Second Chance.
Right, which you get
Second
at the end
Chance
of this
is really
level
good.
anyway. So
It requires a decent faith investment because you need 2 miracle slots.
But with my meat
Use
cleaver, that will benefit me anyway. So
it's definitely definitely worth it because Second Chance is worth it. But other than that, it's pretty slight.
Yeah.
It is.
So having not read the dialogue too thoroughly, which is a huge oversight on my part, do you get the sense that Saint Urbain and Maiden Estrella are like colleagues?
He talks about Maiden Estrella and other heroes going to the Valley of Defilement,
right?
And he talks about Estrella as if she is this paragon of humanity, but not as if he knows her. So all the rumors about her are untrue. I've heard that she is a wonderful human being, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll get to that in the next set of episodes, but I don't view somebody who goes down to the Ohio River as a fucking paragon of humanity.
What if they went down there to help all the river people that you guys have?
Oh yeah. Well, but we started developing the river people. So the river people.
Oh,
are
so
just
you're giving them coding books, are you?
We're not just giving. We're displacing them to the old German ghettos, and now everything along the river is brew houses and crazy fountains like the Bellagio. Yeah. No, it's very pleasant. It's nice. So I go there for lunch most days.
Suggesting that they do that in Demon Souls. You don't want to go get a pulled pork sandwich and have a plague baby serve it to you.
Kind of if you've ever been to the Moorline Lager House, their pulled pork sandwich not only has metwurst on it, but has the spiciest barbecue you've ever had.
That sounds.
Explain what metwurst.
Metwurst is a very spicy type of sausage related to the bratwurst. It is and I almost said endemic, but it is from the East German tradition, which kind of makes the shittier bratwurst that are available in Cincinnati, and also the best bratwurst that are available in Cincinnati. Yeah.
Yeah. I love a pulled pork.
Yeah. No, it is a pulled pork with spicy sausage on top of it, and some crispy onions to boot.
Yeah, if I'm ever in Cincinnati, we should go there.
Yeah, no, that should happen. So
yeah, that sounds delicious.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to distract us.
No, that's okay. I'll talk about pulled pork all day.
Yeah.
Just pork souls. Yeah. I mean, do we have anything else about Urbain? We'll talk about him, I think, in the end game, and we'll talk about him in his relation to Valley of Defilement.
I think he's most relevant there, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here, he seems pretty hapless. I think the biggest thing is he references, we are trapped here by dark souls. That is literally said in his dialogue, which I can ascribe no significance to that, given that 2 years passed between this game and that game.
And
however,
Dark Souls was originally called
Dark
something
Race.
Racist, right? Yeah.
yeah, it was Dark Race, which makes sense given that humanity was the keeper of the Dark Souls. However,
Yeah.
Japanese. So.
Yeah. So you make your way back up, and you can deal with Patches as you will. If you decide not to murder him, he becomes a merchant.
Yep.
And we'll tell you. Yeah.
Either that, or if you decide not to murder him in 2-2, he becomes a merchant as well.
Yeah. You have to run into him.
Right.
And have him come back. But he shows up in both areas.
Yeah.
He follows you here.
He gives you 2 chances to murder him.
Yeah. I forgot about that. He does go and sell you some stuff and then will come here to try to kill you.
Yeah. Huh. He's diversifying, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Diversifying his CDs.
Such a dumb idea.
We've got so much lore just for Patches that we're built up between these 2 areas.
He's like
a savvy investment banker who gives birth to live larvae that turn into flame bugs.
We're so often reaching for straws, Gary, that this is a person who shows up in 4 areas in 2 games. He's basically their word of God.
Yeah. I want to make a parody lore video about him now, about him giving birth to value and to equity and flame bugs. You know?
Oh man, children are the best equity. They'll take care of you. They'll wipe your ass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anywho.
Anyway,
What
you just defeat this Uchi guy, and you get out. That's all you need to get Urbane on your side.
Yeah. There's a secret door leading out, another illusory wall that leads to a Black Phantom katana skeleton, which is the only source of pure sharpstone in the game.
Is he BP down in that area, or is this the second staircase guy? Because
the one I was referring to was the one that you go out through the secret passage for. I think he is BP.
Oh yeah, but like you don't have to go into Urbane's area. You don't drop down by there. But
No.
staircase.
He's not. Yeah, he's not. He's not.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I didn't know if he was BP or not. I know he hits like a fucking Mack truck, but
I think he's BP if I recall correctly. Yeah. That's a bewildering and terrible decision to make that pure sharpstone that hard to get.
Yeah, a little bit. Like that is.
I had no idea that was the only source of it either, too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like legendarily frustrating for people. It's the only reason why people that I've read online that people, the old hero, you can make a sword of seeking from him or sword of searching, and that's the only reason why people do it is because it drops or doubles your item find.
Okay.
It's fucking pure sharpstone. And you're giving up the second chance for that.
And Sharptone is your just like basic Titanite in this game. So like if you want a plus 10 weapon, that's what you have to have.
Well, it's the or maybe it's no, I'm sorry, it's not Sharpstone, Bladestone.
Oh, yeah, so to get the bleeding one, yeah.
Or not, it's a dexterity based.
Yeah.
Whatever one removes all other scaling except for dexterity.
You know what, Gary? It's not our fault that their upgrade system is fucking nonsensical. So,
so put down your fucking keyboards, internet. I can't remember this shit.
Yeah, like this will not end up on errata. I swear to you. Yeah.
But you also can get the white bow.
Yeah.
Which if you're not doing lava bow is really good.
Yes, it is. It has incredibly high stat requirements, but it is also a little bit lore significant in that this is the bow of the creature or the person that ended up becoming the Phalanx Demon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get to, you know what, I forget it as well, but when you get to 1-3 and you fight the D&D party of of Black Phantoms, they also carry the white bow. Yeah. Yeah.
Do we know why when you're leaving this area there's a big pile of dead mantas?
No.
Yeah, that is strange. I always like see that and wonder what the significance is behind that.
I always just kind of assume that it's like when you go to a beach and there are a bunch of dead jellyfish washed up there. Like the only reason that's, it's not because of like there's poison in the water. It's just because the tides tend to keep them there that way. You know, like if you just see a bunch of dead sea life on a low tide or whatever. And so I just assume that run. Obviously run. Always run, no matter what, run. But I just assumed that was, just where they naturally landed. Not to say it's not spooky. Like, I wasn't like, this is all the Great Spirit Mother's plan. Or whatever. But it's kind of like, I didn't ascribe too much meaning to it. But still, things without meaning are ultimately the most horrifying. So
yeah, I feel like they have no real predators in this world. So right. I just wondered, like, what did this?
Given how many times they've killed me, also not even me. I am not their predator.
Yeah.
The only reason why I thought it might be significant is if you think of them piled up as like a tribute to something, like the way they're kind of stacked in front of the door. Mm-hmm. Reminded me of how like a cat will leave a mouse, like a dead mouse in front of your door. Almost.
Right.
Yeah, just a thought. Like I wonder if this is like the Storm King makes a round through here and sucks up these chitlins.
Right.
At some point.
Well, there are plenty of actors here to ascribe that to. Then, so is it the undead who have been risen, leaving a tribute to the demons? Is it the actual heroes who are here to prove themselves, who are leaving that as a tribute to the Storm King, who is the ultimate ruler of this area? Or
it could also be a warning.
Oh yeah.
To not proceed further because there's
More of
whatever
them.
did this is going to do that to you.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
And there's one spine that is like sticking right up out of the ground there too.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's probably something, but I don't know exactly what it is.
I think it's to keep away Steve Irwin.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you guys. Have you guys made a Steve Irwin joke?
No,
I feel like
surprisingly not.
it's the most obvious joke, and I'm sorry I had to do it.
It is.
But it was,
you know what? You
hurting me.
shouldn't. Like, amazingly enough, I actually remember where I was when Steve Irwin died.
You're so young. Why was that a milestone?
See, if
Because-
Demon's Souls was released prior to him dying, he would know not to fuck with stingrays.
Yeah. No, but he had 3 years of warning. He that's why I didn't feel sorry. Yeah.
That was his third impaling by a stingray. That one took. Is that what happened?
One per
He was
year.
trying to build up an immunity like Fezzik from Princess Bride by taking a little bit every day.
Yeah.
The third one was just too much.
No, the reason I remember it was my first time visiting Cincinnati. I was incredibly drunk staying at a friend's brother's house, and then we woke up to news that Steve Irwin had died, and it struck us in a very poignant way.
I knew where I was when Anna Nicole Smith died, so don't feel bad.
You know what? I know where I was too, because my mom was getting surgery for breast cancer at that point too.
Oh wow!
Give me any other celebrity, I can tell you.
Yeah, I remember I do not remember my like apathetic shrugs at both these celebrities. Like,
Yeah.
Huh.
Well,
People at work are going to be talking about that, I guess. So
so-
I do remember where I was when Kurt Cobain died. I was on vacation in Florida going to Disney World, and I had made friends with like another fat, unpopular mud colored hair grunge kid who broke the news to me, and we commiserated about it in a swimming pool in like a La
In other
Quinta or
words, you have
something.
an alibi.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and Courtney Love was there too. She was sipping Mai Tais. Don't ask about what she was doing.
She had blood all over her. Like she was like, "Oh, a pen exploded," but
Yeah.
No, I was just finishing first grade, and now everybody feels old.
Or young.
Not true.
Yeah, old or young. Everyone feels bad about how old they are for
Yes.
one reason or another. Thank you, Bonfireside Chat. Someday we all will die.
Yep.
We're older
Oh,
now than
man.
we'll ever be.
This too shall pass.
Yep.
Yeah. I forget
Anywho.
what the hell we were talking about.
We're talking about that.
Death pile.
Yeah,
the death pile.
yeah, our new band. This run of skeletons and stingray snipers down to the second
God.
super shitty area full of reapers.
Yeah.
I have to say, like, this is the most time I've spent on this game is in that area. Like, the snipers in Orlando are a welcome sight compared to these couple of cliffside sections.
These 5 enemies?
Not just I think there are 2 cliffside sections, aren't there, in this level?
There's
If I'm mistaken.
There's the one with skeletons, but the second one, to my recollection, is clear.
Oh yeah, I think it might just have the stingrays, or what are they called again?
Storm
A
Beast.
storm beast. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I had a lot of problems with this section, and like I feel like once I would get past it, I'd be so flustered that I would screw up in the cave part following that.
Yeah. The cave part following that is not good.
Well, it's hard to fight like melee fight these skeletons while being aware of your periphery
Yeah.
and the storm beasts. So if you get hit by a storm beast and get sunlocked, it's very easy for one of these skeletons to actually take you out.
There are 2 criteria for dodging, which are visual stimulus, which is one of the skeletons, especially the gold ones, swinging for you, but also the bom 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 sound of the storm beast firing at you. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
It took me a long time to figure it out, but the secret trick to this is soul remains. So if you just throw like one batch of soul remains at each set of skeletons, you can just run right through to the Reapers and they won't follow you.
I never used them until I think you guys remarked on the last episode, and I was like, damn it. I knew they were good for something. Again, I didn't read the wiki for that. I just assumed it was one of many useless items, but I was
It's like one of the many like tips and tricks I applied to normal play that I learned from watching speedruns. Like last year when we had Souls Bowl, I think I picked this up. So, Souls Bowl 2 is coming up too. So, mark your calendars.
Yeah.
So maybe it could be just me, but this section is I don't know. It feels like one of the longer levels as well. I'm not sure if it is technically the longest, but it just feels like a very long level, especially when you have to start back from the beginning again.
It feels long, not just because you cover a lot of ground, but because you kind of double back on yourself a lot.
Yeah, that part too.
It's vertical in a way that Demon Souls levels are not, that Dark Souls levels are.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually, I think it's actually one of the shorter levels, but the fact that there's no compression to it, and there's no shortcut at all. There's no way to kind of skip. Yeah, I get that feeling too. I've died before on the slugs, which just is the worst because the whole run and they're not that hard.
Or those exploding will-o'-the-wisps or whatever. If one catches you at the wrong time.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. Sorry, getting ahead of things.
And that just like it exploits your instinct to explore when there's no real reward for doing so. But
there's some ring down there. Down there, I can't remember what it is. And they also you can get so much sticky white stuff from those things. Like if you're using a weapon that's buffable, like you do a run through the slugs and you'll be set for pretty much the rest of the game. Yeah,
they're like second tier pinatas, right?
Yeah. You have to watch out for the will-o'-the-wisp. Before that, though, you have to do this weird square section, going down descending staircases to get down to this Grim Reaper with the beam shooting shadow reapers.
Yeah, which will do a fair number on you. Like, not, like, even with a really good shield.
Yeah, you need a magic resistant shield.
Yeah.
Which to be fair, you get the items for that here. Like, I've almost never had a Storm Beast die without dropping one. Dropping, I can't remember the name of the material.
Yeah, the Storm Beast die and they drop Cloudstone, but I think that is what you need in order to make divine weapons. But the Reapers die and they drop Dark Moonstone, which gives you magic upgrades.
I think so I could be wrong, and this is something I'd welcome a correction on. I think that they both do it because there are two different magic upgrades similar to in Dark Souls, one of which is stronger than the other. Again, similar to Dark Souls. Like one eliminates all scaling except for magic, and one of them maintains some of the scaling. And I think I don't think the Cloudstone is Faith. I think the Cloudstone is the weaker of the two magic ones. Are you looking it up right now, and that's why you're being quiet?
I'm being quiet because you are speaking. However,
I appreciate that.
So
I'm being quiet because of my ignorance.
Let's all say why we're being quiet.
So Cloudstone is an ore that blocks light and increases a shield's capacity to block magic. So we actually might both be right in that Cloudstone is entirely for shields, whereas Dark Moonstone is entirely for weapons. So
there we go.
Yeah.
Again. No real sense to this, but
clouds hate magic.
Final Fantasy VII taught us that.
Yeah. The one thing. But I mean, you're probably not going to make a magic shield just for these guys.
Well, just for the fact that like enchanting any armor at all is not worthwhile in this game.
Well, you can't enchant most armor. You can only do shields and weapons. So yeah, I mean, I thought about having a shield, having a magic resistant shield and then having my purple flame shield, which is my go-to shield. But I never did because of weight limits.
Right.
So, you're kind of disincentivized from carrying around a utility belt. But
unlike in Dark Souls 2, where if you're a two-sword weapon guy, you can just be an R.A. Salvatore protagonist. But we'll get to that in the appendix.
If you get right next to the beam skeletons or beam shadow men to the right a little bit, the beam will tend to go over you. So you kind of have to rush them while they're doing the slow sweep.
Right, they sweep real slow, and their radius is kind of small.
Yeah. Did they remind you guys of the beam skeletons from Symphony of the Night?
Yeah.
Those guys are one of the biggest wake-up calls to the second section of the game. The game is not that hard, but they can kind of destroy Alucard at that point of the game.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
God, and these guys are equally as tough.
Yeah, we need to put Symphony of the Night in our, in case of, one of us gets in a really bad breakup. Like glass case with Super Metroid. We just desperately need something good.
But they're both the same kind of game. So if I break up, which is statistically the more likely thing, and then if you break up, then we're going to do Symphony of the Night and Super Metroid at the same time.
Damn straight. It'll be the best 3 months of our life. 2 months of our life. Like, so good. Yeah. Not for this podcast.
Not for either of us, but for everybody else. So.
Yeah, that's
So, like, if your significant others are listening and they see a copy of Super Metroid, watch out.
be careful.
Something's gonna happen.
Yeah. There's
Hey, babe.
or invest in alcohol. In my case.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, but yeah. So you end up with some resistance to these guys, but not a lot. And it only really becomes an issue when you're in the second when you're in the second Reaper area, which kind of doubles as the third Reaper area just a little bit. Yeah, because it's the same column of space. You just kind of dip out into a non-eventful cliffside section until you come back.
Yeah. I never let this Reaper live. Like, he's killed me before, but I want to kill all the Reapers. The one at the bottom of this pit.
You don't fear them.
I do not fear the Reaper. He immediately starts winding up a magic missile, which will kill me through my shield pretty consistently.
Yeah,
like, it's a very strong magical thing. So I just strike first and do a lot of damage, which is why I liked having the meat cleaver so much here. Mm-hmm. Because if I knew he was there, I could do a running attack and usually kill him before he could do anything.
So you know what's funny? This the second Reaper, I didn't know he existed until this playthrough. This very night that we're recording. Because when you get to the bottom of those stairs at the first encounter here, you see one of the Shadow Men, and you run right toward him, but that puts the Reaper behind you, and I just assumed that there were only two. Yeah. So when I found the second Reaper this time, the actual second Reaper, I was like, oh, this makes it all so much easier. Yeah.
Did you, just judging, sometimes like when we do these episodes, I can kind of learn about your play experience by looking at the notes. Did you not fall for the she-shadow trap? Like the giggling girl shadow, the shadow ladies?
No, I did not.
Oh, I'm not sure what you're talking about even.
Yeah, please illuminate.
Right in front of the Reaper in that little area, there's a treasure, and if you pick it up, it's a dagger, and it spawns lady shadows that giggle and are invisible, or like much less visible than the regular ones.
Are they much smaller too?
Yep.
Okay, I know what you're talking about. I didn't connect the idea with what you were saying though.
Yeah, this is ego as fuck.
They're just there for ambushes. So, and they backstab you. So you pick up the thing, you hear like and then like a second later you get backstabbed unless you book it. If you get down the stairs, if you go to your right, there's a really minor soul item that's the same thing. But they can't go out into the light. So if you, which is interesting, like lore-wise.
It's always in like a confined area too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So you can run and grab it and then run immediately back out, and you can never see them because they're really difficult to see. They're more translucent than the Shadow Men.
Right.
But they're like the thief characters. They're similar to the thief characters in 1-3.
Right. So in neither of my playthroughs did I find these guys.
Yeah, that you could, if you're just not like if you picked up the treasure, which I assume you did, they spawned. But if you just keep going, you just won't see them. Which is kind of interesting. But they hit really hard.
Right.
So they can more or less kill you or very nearly kill you in one backstab.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting just the idea that these are not just they are gendered monsters.
Yeah.
These shadow creatures, which I wouldn't have thought, but
yeah, normally it's just the NPCs who are gendered.
Yeah. So there are lady versions of these things, and they are also difficult.
Grim Reapresses.
Yeah.
Shadow
Grim
Lurkerses.
Reavets.
Yeah.
Yeah. Grim Sheepers.
Not so much that one. Let's workshop that. Yeah, Reapers. There we go. Okay, yeah.
Is that better?
Now I'm back on board.
The Halloween costume equivalent for women, what it's called, and then
yeah.
Well, then it would just be Sexy Grim Reaper.
Yeah. Which
I guess they're not very creative on that front.
No, no, they're not.
Yeah, like the world at large is not creative at that one. So
there were several. This is off topic. There were several sexy brand Halloween costumes for women, and there was like they had like Pizza Hut and Home Depot.
Oh,
and,
I saw those.
What?
The Pizza Hut one was called Pizza Slut.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
so again, I come around.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, those were awful.
Yeah, that's. I mean, it's terrible. Like come around.
I would
like,
even if they weren't sexy, I would hate those.
Yeah.
Like, why would you go up?
I mean, I know it makes for a good pun, but like wearing a shirt that says "I'm a slut" does not seem. I don't know who's game for that.
I only accept that in Arrested Development.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah.
the joke is on the character, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
In
Right.
that case.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want to hang out with Lindsay.
Like
So
I didn't even accept that when I was in college, let alone like now that I am officially an old man. So
I think it's a plot engineered by MRAs.
yeah, there we go. Yeah, let's blame it on MRAs. That is my usual strategy.
they're a plotting and crafty bunch.
Yeah.
There's many fedoras worn at the Halloween costume factory.
Yes.
And I put it on our friend Nick. I put it on his Facebook wall. If you ever want to just hate for like a good 20 minutes,
God damn it, Gary.
Yeah, there's a guy called The Amazing Atheist on YouTube.
Oh, fuck that guy.
Yeah, no.
Sorry.
Fuck that guy.
That's
I'm not
fine.
allowed to swear, but it brought it out of me.
Don't worry.
That brought it out.
Don't
You are
worry.
allowed to swear. You misunderstood this whole thing. You would have been swearing the whole time. That guy can go fuck himself as hard as anyone has ever fucked anyone's self.
He can go take a flying fucking rolling donut.
Totally.
Fuck.
Flying for the moon.
Yeah. No, that's that is some real bullshit. Like you posted that link, Gary, and my comment was I threw in the towel at The Amazing Atheist.
Did you watch any of it?
I watched up until I heard, "Hey guys, this is The Amazing Atheist," and then I stopped.
I mean, you're
I know
probably
where
a better
this is
person.
going.
You're a better person than me if you don't like getting mad. But
I find that to be a serious problem with my person. Like it's like a rage addict or something. It's like
Yeah.
I need something to be pissed off at.
it's cathartic. It's weirdly like
I
feels
might-
kind of good.
Like this will be a weird thing to say, but I might just have like emotional issues in a way that maybe you don't feel as seriously as you might feel. And like when I saw that, I was like, yeah, I can't handle, like, I've got to wake up tomorrow and approach the world.
Well, when I put it on Nick's wall, my comment was like, "This is a human being with the same rights we have." You know, because
He can vote.
yeah, this guy can vote. Yeah, what a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And just I don't want to. I'm not going to put him in the show notes. If anyone's curious, they can look him up. But
Yeah.
what a piece of shit. Just speaking of pizza sluts and I don't know AT and tits. I don't know what the
Yeah.
T one was, but
Yeah.
Ugh.
No. I had a thing in my mind, but I forget it now. So
yeah. Let's get back to the comforting grip of Grim Reapers and
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a world I'd rather live in.
To the comfort to the comfort of spook.
yeah.
Yeah. But
So yeah, talk to us about the slug pit, Cole.
the slug pit is mostly optional, as is the world of delving into MRAs. Which, by saying that, I ensure that will be included in the main episode. So I apologize to everybody.
That's fine.
Yeah, but the slug pit, it is initially visually dazzling. So you're down here. Everything so far has been my preferred mode of visual communication, which is desolation, which is bleakness, which is skeletons and wind, and just no hope. But rather down here, it is will-o'-the-wisps, which shine with a glowing interpersonal light, which draw you in a purely unresistible way. And slugs, which are like, hey, pet me. My slime will be moisturizing for your skin. But
I agree. The slugs are sort of adorable and
they are.
in their own way.
They have
you had to choose-
they have predator mouths.
Yeah. Yeah. If you had to choose one plush toy from Demon Souls, these guys are the firebugs. Which one would you choose?
Ooh, firebugs.
Firebugs, yeah.
Yeah, firebugs are cuter. They're rounder. So,
And they're more stable, I think. Like they have an inherent symmetry that the phosphorescent slugs do not.
they're also not full of sticky white stuff.
Yeah.
So they've got that going for them.
There has to be a better word for that. I can't believe they went with that.
But you know what? At least half the people I know are full of sticky white stuff. They're not special.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. They don't do increased magic damage.
Yeah.
This area kind of doubles back on itself a couple times and can be a little bit confusing to get through.
Yeah.
There's an item down here. It's a ring that I will never use in a million years. It's like the one that stops things from degrading.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that is more of a problem in Demon Souls, but it's still not really a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm fine keeping Baldwin and Souls.
Yeah, it's
in
the
Dark Souls, degradation is still a problem, but it never is enough of a problem for it to be like something you need to worry about.
Mm.
Yeah, so in this area you get either the Ronin's ring, which, let me see here, does that exact thing you said, which it's said to be imbued with a distinct spell, increases durability. Whereas there are other places where you can get either the Thieves' Ring, which is invaluable, or you can get the... you know what? That's it.
You can get the Thieves' Ring down here?
Yeah, you can get it by killing patches.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that means there's 3 places where you can get that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because, it's in... I think it's in the Valley of Defilement as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I could be wrong about that, but... they really want you to use that thing.
Yes,
really
they
want
do.
you to have access to it.
They make it invaluable.
Yeah, put it in stage 1, and then and keep putting it down there.
And then if you don't get the hint, then just put it in your way every single time.
Mm-hmm. I've died to the slugs before, which is embarrassing, but they are silent, and they can sometimes sneak up behind you and
Yeah,
kill
I
you.
died today to the slug, so don't feel bad.
Yeah.
Me too. But like everything in this room is made of light.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, they're pretty camouflage. Yeah. It's frustrating though because you do have to go through this whole level again. And replaying it for the show, I died a few times on the way down, and it was, pretty irritating. But yeah, so you get through here, and there are those will-o'-the-wisps which blow up, similar to the floating skulls in Dark Souls.
Yeah.
They're much faster, and they follow a more unpredictable path. But it's like, if you're up on the high road, that's all you have to watch out for.
Right.
And then you get to a big pile of corpses, and the old hero room.
Yes. Which I love this boss fight. It feels the most like a Zelda fight of the of all the fights in the game to me.
Are you saying that because you get the Thieves' Ring in this area, and that's kind of you're getting the item that unlocks?
Maybe a little bit, in that it is the boss fight that has the most let's say explicable
Exploitable?
Yeah, exploitable. There we go. Either of those gimmicks of the of any of the bosses, really, to me. Maybe the Storm King outclasses it just a little bit, but yeah, it felt most like that to me.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like several of the bosses have some gimmickry to them. I still really like it. I didn't put the Zelda connection to it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this time I went in with my Dark Souls knowledge. I didn't really consult a lot of wikis outside of weapon upgrades, so the fact that this guy was blind was never something that I knew about. I read a note on the ground that said use footsteps, or footsteps are the secret, or something like that, and I was like, what does that mean? And then I watched the cutscene, and I noticed the guy, his head was bandaged, and I was like, oh, that must mean he's blind, and it turned out, I put those clues together, and I mean, I could have just looked at the wiki, but the information was there in the game, and I found that pretty interesting.
That might be the only time when a message that wasn't "don't jump" was useful.
Yeah.
I had I've had several useful messages.
I'm exaggerating.
For those kind of things. Yeah, I love that feature. Super useful. This guy also he's kind of an inversion of the Priscilla fight. In that the idea that he can't since he is blind. So you get to use the same kind of thing that Priscilla used against you. Controlling where your indirect kind of traces are.
Right.
And he's also probably my favorite kind of appreciation ratio to ease. I think this is one of the easiest bosses in the game, but I like the idea of him and the design of him so much. Because if you have a bow and arrow, this guy is a joke. You shoot him a couple times, then move, and you're fine. He'll never get a hit on you. Even fighting him in melee is pretty easy if you stick and move. But I like the idea of him so much. One thing I didn't notice until this recent playthrough is you don't actually fight him; you're fighting his soul.
Huh?
His soul peels off from his corpse.
Oh, in the opening video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's his spirit or what have you.
Yeah. So it's his spirit / soul reanimating his dead body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many, like, again, I just keep talking about this, but I love the boss arenas in Demon Souls a lot more than I like the Dark Souls ones. There's so many like nooks and crannies to hide in
Right.
and stuff here. Like it's a much better and more interesting arena. Like I feel like the bosses in Demon Souls are more kind of inclusive. Like the arena are a bigger part of them than in Dark Souls. So I really appreciate that here.
Yeah.
And in the next area.
They get in your way less.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not meant there to be a detriment. I guess, like, I mean, there are boss fights in Dark Souls where it's similar. So, you know, I'll use the pillars in Ornstein and Smo, and the Capra Demon's arena is, you know, really elemental to his boss kind of design. But I feel like that happens in most boss fights in this game. Like the arena is just very interesting and is exploitable, and it's something you have to consider. You know, you can never just really ignore it.
Sorry. I revisited this area today, and I noticed, like, is there any explanation behind who the person is on the kind of slab or the tomb or whatever when you first walk in?
Oh, did you get the hero soul from?
Yeah, I guess I didn't look at the description. Maybe that would have the explanation behind it.
I just assume that he's another, since this is a testing ground for warriors, I assume that, like, this is part of the test.
Gotcha.
Like,
he's not like a significant character. He just is like someone else other than you. Yeah.
Okay. That's how I always took it. And this old hero is part of the test. You know, this is the little antechamber into the Storm King's feeding grounds. You know, and this is the last thing you have to pass before you get your sky burial writ large.
Huh. One other thing I noticed, and I'm not sure if this is just like, I don't know where this arena is in relation to what is above it, but when I revisited it today, I noticed that there were like a few of those shadow guys up above. You can see the light that they cast. I'm not sure if those are ones that I had that were just earlier in the level, or they're watching the fight, but I couldn't actually hit them with my bow.
I've never noticed that before.
Yeah, they are up there, and I'm not sure where they are in relation to the rest of the level. They could just be, like I said, enemies from earlier in the stage, or they could just be there. So,
right.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'll have to go back there and take a look.
Yeah.
Yeah, but old hero, he dies.
Old hero. Yeah, this I already made the comparison to Zelda. I know when we were talking to you, Bob, about doing this episode for the show, you mentioned that you've spent the most time on this, and
right.
And I kind of want you to go back over that for me, just so we can understand the significance that this has for you.
It's not the boss battle in particular, but the level itself.
Right.
Is that what you meant? Yeah, I just feel like this has the most bottlenecks in Demon Souls, the most sort of really tight situations where you have to like just be a master of knowing how to react without a lot of landscape beneath you. And all these things like impeding your progress, like you were fighting skeletons while you were dodging the projectiles from the manta rays, or I mean, it's just so much treacherous footing, and I get flustered really easily in this game. So this does not make for a great experience for me, but I eventually learned it so well. Like if you asked me to sit down and draw this level, I could probably sit down and draw it like almost perfectly, just because it's one of those things that's etched in my brain. But I mean, I do enjoy it. I just spent so much time with it. It could be just sort of a Stockholm Syndrome sort of deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, I had more trouble with the skeleton cliffs and the cave following that than I did with the Anor Londo archers.
Yeah, it's kind of I can see the comparison too, because both of them are areas where you're trying to do something while dodging ranged attacks.
Yeah. At
the same time, which is always going to be difficult.
Not that I didn't have problems with the Anor Londo archers. I'm sure I've tried that 30 times before I got it, but I've tried this level like 90 times, over the course. Like, this is a game that I would put down for a few months and then come back to it, and this is one of the levels that I did that with.
Yeah. And in reality, we can just go back and listen to the Anor Londo episode, which you were a guest on, in order to understand how frustrated you were with that.
I wonder if you brought this up during the Anor Londo archers.
I probably did, because like I said, I played this level so many times when I originally played through Demon Souls. It was much easier this time because I knew about... I didn't have the Thief's Ring because I didn't pick it up in 1-1, but I had the Cloak spell. So that was like much handier, because now I could actually dodge, or the Commander Rays wouldn't see me. So that was one problem out of the equation. But still, it was tough.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's one of the harder levels in the game for sure. And if we weren't doing the Valley of Defilement after this, I would maybe crown it
Yeah.
as such.
It's bizarre in that it is an incredible example of difficulty of level over difficulty of boss throughout, really, as compared to difficulty of boss over difficulty of level. So the level really hard in the Shrine of Storms as compared to the bosses, whereas if you look at the Valley of Defilement, level really hard.
Yeah, all three bosses are essentially a joke.
Yeah.
And as far as how to defeat them, like I really like them as far as ideas, and especially Estrella, but they're all very easy to beat.
I think also the lack of shortcut bothers me about this level. Not that I'm saying it's a bad level because I did enjoy it, but if you lose to the boss, you have to go through all those bottlenecks over and over again, and a lot of it is just luck. Like, is this guy going to move the way I want him to move, or is he going to come at me and shove me off the cliff? Yeah. So if there was a shortcut once you got to the bottom of both of those caves, I would have appreciated this much more, or I would have had less of a hard time. But losing to the boss, I mean, it's possible. I mean, I beat him in the first try this time, but last time I wasn't as smart about it. I didn't realize his blindness, so there were quite a few times on my first playthrough where I was like, I got to do this all over again. Great.
Yeah. There's plenty about Dark Souls where they just make you appreciate how generous they are with shortcuts, just various elevators and whatnot, hidden passages, as compared to this, which is just like, nope. Even in 4.1, you just have the glitch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Even though I guess like bypassing, if you kill the Vanguard, you can make a pretty much a direct run to it, and that's kind of a shortcut if you don't try to go around the Vanguard. But you're definitely right. Like there aren't any like official kicked ladders in this zone.
Yeah.
If there were a Demon Souls director's cut, I would, if I was making this game, I would just add something, because it feels like maybe that's why, like I said, the level feels so long, just because you have to redo so much of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agreed there. Like it took me a lot of tries, and I went here early too for some reason. Like this set of levels, something about 2.2 didn't appeal to me when I first went there, or 2.1. So I started going here, and my friend Levi eventually just like warned me off it and said, you're probably a little underleveled for that. So why are these skeletons so fucking hard? Well, you need 20 more levels.
Yeah. It's high reward. That's what drew that's what drew me here, which is like you just gather so many souls from all of this.
Yeah, which makes going back to them sometimes difficult. Like every other level, just fighting the normal enemies, you don't get very much in the way of souls. But if you die, on that last little Reaper stretch to the old hero, you're probably carrying 8,000 or 9,000 souls. Which is can be pretty significant. As opposed to if you die, I don't know, part way to the Fool's Idol, in which you're maybe carrying, 2,000 or 1,000.
Right.
So you get so many souls, and that ups the stakes quite a bit as well. So, but yeah, so you beat the old hero. You can make this sort of searching, which we mentioned, and second chance, which is excellent and is well worth having up. The playthrough I'm doing for the show, I'm actually going to up my faith and intelligence enough to be able to cast, or faith and magic enough to be able to cast it.
Yeah.
The second chance just lets you keep your soul. I forget what it does.
If you die, you respawn with half your health.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does not work if you fall or die in any way in which your body is irrecoverable.
Yeah. And it's easy not to notice too. Like you don't get like a period of invincibility or anything. So if somebody's hammering on you, you can go to second chance and then just keep getting hit. But it does help a lot for, just in general, staying alive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there are some tendency things here. So pretty much what we just mentioned, really.
Yeah, we cover these. Like you can get Makoto with white, and then with black you get the primeval demon.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you guys? I wanted to ask you this because I feel like I'm a veteran of this game, but I never touch tendency, and whenever I try to alter it, I feel like I'm still doing it wrong, even though I'm sort of following explicit instructions. Do you have the same problems I do when experimenting with this, or do you just play offline, or how does that work for you?
I think we might have talked about this at some point. I think that what might be happening, so tendency is influenced by other people online.
Yeah. So
maybe you're doing the things that influence it, but then the kind of median tendency is undoing your efforts.
Right.
Like I play online, but I tend to play maybe in longer stretches, so my local version of Tendency sticks around a little bit longer.
Oh, I see.
Maybe that's what's going on. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like. Yeah, I in general I don't bother, but whenever I try, just because I haven't seen all this content, I really want to. It never works out for me.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Anytime that I have gone for a pure white tendency, which is what I would naturally do, because I am an immaculate person, I've gotten it. Otherwise, if I've not felt like bothering or going after any of the obscure things that I should have done to get that, I've not gotten it. So I haven't felt like at any point I didn't get anything I didn't try to get.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard not to get pure white if you don't die in human form. So, like, if you kill yourself in the Nexus over and over, you'll eventually end up at pure white. But then sometimes by the time you get to pure white, you don't have a reason to go back to the world.
Right.
You know, like you're done with it. And if you go back, you'll be white.
Yeah,
so.
Not to go on too long about this, but I also have problems reading the legend or the map or whatever. It's like there's no like there's no legend to it. It's not like this is what pure white is. It's like no, you figure it out. And I feel like I looked at an internet like JPEG, and I swear to God I've had pure white, but maybe it was like 1 degree of shade darker, but I can't tell. You know.
Yep, me too.
Yeah, there's nothing saying. You just have to like mentally calculate the points that you've earned by how often you've died versus how many things you've killed versus how many things you didn't kill versus
I have a hard time distinguishing color, and it's very difficult for me.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So for me, first playthrough, didn't care at all about tendency. Second playthrough, wanted to get white, got it. So
yeah. For the show, I'm planning on doing all the pure black stuff and doing pure black character tendency and doing the Mephistopheles stuff. I just haven't done it yet.
Right.
So it's easier to go from white to black than opposite. So that's what I'm intending to do, to see some of that stuff as well. There's a lot. It seems like there's a lot to it, but there's really not that much that is unique and fun content. There's harder versions of the levels, which is what you usually get for black, and then some extra items, which you usually get for white.
Right.
So it's neat, but you're not getting very much extra like NPCs and story stuff. Like that happens sometimes, but it doesn't happen very often.
Yeah.
So it's one of those poorly explained but also underutilized mechanics.
And I know Atlas would have like events where they would change the tendency to one thing for a month, but they haven't done that in years, I think. So
right.
Or I don't know if they'll ever do it again, but I wasn't playing at the time they did that. So
they're in maintenance mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I'm thankful that they're keeping it up.
Yeah, me too.
You know, but that's all.
By all rights, it should have ended 1.5 years ago. So,
yeah, good on them.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Storm King,
the Trapper Keeper boss of Dark Demon Souls, rather.
Yeah. I love this boss. I love the lead up. I love the area. I love the music. There's no part of this that I don't love. Like.
They kind of throw you into it where it's like, what do I do? You know, but if you know what to do, it's one of the easiest bosses ever. But it's one of the few moments where you're really empowered in the game. I think.
Yeah, and it's also it's so foreboding. You know, like I knew something was going to happen because I just went through an Archdemon gate, but to just have it look like a normal area,
right?
Yeah,
you know, at least initially, just really aggressive storm beasts. You know, and just so many of them. So many of them.
Yeah, you don't have a dragon god staring at you down a corridor or whatever.
And you see that awesome, you see the awesome cutscene, but then nothing, you know, for a long time. And that cutscene is so great. Like, I love the storm beasts peeling themselves off of him, like those disgusting frogs.
Ugh, God,
they're like the worst creature.
Don't even talk to me about those frogs, Gary. You
God's
know
creation.
This.
Do we know their names? Like
God's creation.
Terrible frogs. They don't.
A crazy frog situation we're talking about?
Is that the first time those words have been uttered since?
Crazy frog. I'm just surprised that a horrible CGI character with visible genitals took the UK by storm
there's
a decade ago.
I walked by the student run, or the student theater today, and there was Portland something theater troupe presents the 5th annual, and then it was frogs with a Z, and it was a picture of a tie-dye frog.
Oh,
and like
no.
the font for the first part was all business, and then I'm reading it and then surprised by the punch, the ending being frogs with a Z, and then just a picture of a tie-dye frog. It's
Frogs.
Like, what the fuck is this? The fuck are these imagined party frogs? Like what are these things? Ugh. But do you know those gross frogs we're talking about?
I'm not sure what you're talking about. Actually, I have a great distaste for crazy frog, but
These are sane frogs, but they'll make you go crazy.
Yeah, they do.
talking about like hallucinogenic frogs you lick.
They do not sing Axel F. However, they do have holes in their back in which they gestate baby frogs of themselves.
Oh my god!
Yeah, like you'll see that on like you'll get like the
these are like
gremlins.
a real. This is like a real animal that exists.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Oh,
So,
I know.
like-
Yeah, I think I've seen this before, like on nature shows. Like,
It's like WTF tit or botflies, except
Yeah.
like a lotus pod, but with actual flesh.
and actual reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
We're discussing-
lotus pods are disturbing.
that's true.
I will attest to that. So.
yeah, they are.
Yeah. You fight one of them in EVO.
Yeah.
You fight one of these frogs.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. Makes me against evolution. Just
Yeah.
end the whole thing.
Yep.
It's
Stop
over
it.
if we're gonna create these things.
Kill everything living. Go.
But that's what the Storm Beast is like, with these little attached, or Storm King with these little attached Storm Beastlets.
Yeah. Yeah. That are just riding on their carriage like that.
Yeah. Ugh.
Ugh.
Can't stop thinking about frog.
Yeah. So the real goal here is to get down to the henges and pick up the Storm Ruler. However, if you don't know that, you're just kind of operating under the normal assumption that you can take these things out by hook, by crook, or by any other normal range weapon you have.
Which you can. Like, you can fight them with arrows.
Right.
Like, you don't have to get the Storm Ruler. I've only done the Storm Ruler playthrough once, and it was my meat cleaver run because I didn't have a bow. But
Why?
the bow, my arrows do more damage than the Storm Render. Or
But they take out so many enemies at once. It's, I mean, a little preview of the appendix, but like the Storm Ruler turns you into the fierce deity.
I just I never, if I shoot 3 or 4 regular kind of Storm Beast and then go hang out in the house,
Yeah.
they're really not a problem for me, and I just need to watch out for the Storm King. So I do more damage with the arrows than with the Storm Ruler, and would just do that. I've used the Storm Ruler before. I did it on my meat cleaver run because I didn't have a bow, but and my kind of normal run, if I have the lava bow by this point, I usually don't get it, just because I don't need to.
Yeah. It's a little detrimental too, since it has such low durability. However,
Yeah.
like
It's thematically stronger.
Oh,
like I
God,
should be
yeah.
getting it for canon reasons. Like it's
Yeah,
really
yeah.
cool. Yeah.
I didn't try. Can you use this? Can you use that weapon outside of this stage, or outside
No.
of this level? Okay,
No.
I didn't think so.
it is only 4/4.
like- I would like to see a Storm Ruler run, if that was possible.
I bet you it is. I bet you someone's done it. There's probably a Storm Ruler speed run that's less than 2 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm torn by wanting to continue the podcast and then also look that up because I am definitely curious. Is it you can't use the R2 attack, or you can't use it at all outside of 4.3?
I don't have any recollection.
Yeah, I haven't tried it. I just was curious.
Huh. Well,
Yeah.
I will look that up, and people will tell us.
Yeah. Yeah, everything that I have ever read has said it doesn't work outside of 4.2 as anything other than a very weak weapon.
Yeah, it might just be like a shitty sword.
Yeah.
So
Which really cool. There's an artifact that is that is activated by this particular geographic location.
yeah, like the arrangement of the stones.
Yeah.
Perhaps like there's a geometric function. It's also like I like this area is interesting in that it wasn't always a feeding ground.
Right.
For this, because someone built these stones, someone lived in that house.
Yeah, the house was an interesting little touch there.
Yeah, so I mean, it makes it like from a gameplay perspective, it's obviously really helpful, but from a lore perspective or an environment perspective, like it just makes me wonder what it is, what it's doing there.
Yeah.
I don't have an answer. I just, if it's something like where maybe there was a even older civilization that these barbarians, are built on, or maybe I guess it could be kind of like a waiting room or a kind of a second area to wait to be sacrificed, or where they prepared the bodies, maybe.
I mean, they're kind of a groundskeeper, right?
Yeah. Somebody who's just cleaning up corpses and dumping them in front of the reapers in front of the other area.
A little bit.
Or just rubbing 11 herbs and spices into every hero before they get sucked up. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm looking here. There's the only item there is the toad eye arrow, which I have no idea what that does. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, just this appeals to my general preference or attraction towards rocky beaches that are hostile in nature. Yeah, this is that times 1,000. So.
Yeah, they put those 2 crystal lizards down there by the storm ruler.
Yeah,
to tempt you into fighting them rather than fighting the boss in front of you and get murdered.
Yeah, assuredly, yes.
Yeah, and there's not too much. So the storm ruler is not too much to him. Like he's a gigantic version of a storm beast.
Right.
And it's really just about awareness of your periphery, like knowing when to dodge and listening for the audio cues, and then finding a safe place to stand to use your weapon of choice on him as he passes.
Right.
You can kill him with the bow and arrow. You can kill him in 2 passes. Like he's an easy boss, but it's just sense of scale and kind of visually, he's just really neat.
Yeah, there's a great sense of spectacle to him, and it actually sort of reminded me of I just replayed Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah.
And I feel like bosses never got that big again until Demon Souls, or maybe I just wasn't paying attention. But I just love the sense of scale.
Exactly, playing with scale like that was the biggest thing I noticed about this in particular. But you look at the Dragon God, or you look at
the Adjudicator, or something like that.
Yeah, pretty much. Like just kind of like, oh, let's actually tease with this idea of actually fighting something that is so much bigger than you. And the idea that this has at least 7 target points that you can get at.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very, very cool. If not, particularly hard. It's interesting too. Like this reminds you of that Dragon God thing. Like we keep talking about whether these things were awakened by the fog or a result of the fog or what. Like this, as well as the Dragon God, kind of, makes me think of that conflict just in that it has such an air of ancientness to it, and the lore supports it. So maybe it's something that was sleeping until the fog came out. Like it's definitely a demon, but the demons come from a fog. The fog is more recent. Like it's just kind of a little bit confusing that these cultures are in place and have been for a long time, and also are worshiping and are directly a resultant of things that happen to be demons. Maybe it wasn't always a demon. Maybe it's been corrupted.
Right.
Somehow, I don't know.
These feel so much more like a force of nature.
Yeah.
Than any of the dragon stuff does.
Yeah. Yep. Right. Well, they both have lore things to support that they've been there for a long time, and that cultures have sprung up around them.
Yeah. Just
out of the areas, this definitely seems like the one that has the most in common with the Stonefang tunnels, in that they're cultures that have sprung up around an existing thing.
Yeah.
So I don't have an answer. It feels really satisfying to kill this gigantic thing and then have your run of the island and watch all the other
go ahead, sorry.
I was just gonna say watch the Storm Beast die.
Yeah.
All of them die with their mom.
Is there any sort of explanation on the soul for him? I didn't read it yet. I think I still have it, or didn't turn it into anything.
I can get that.
It turns into the Morian Blade, which is one of the things, which is a sword that gives you a permanent red tearstone effect. So it's a red tearstone sword. You can't be at full health, but if you have less than 30%, it gives you a boost.
Oh, cool.
And then one other thing.
Yeah, it's the anti-magic field, which gives you the says this miracle represents the power of the god against tremendous malice. It's one of the greatest miracles, aiding all who are righteous.
Yeah. It makes sense with the Storm Beast dropping the Cloudstone, the anti-magic Cloudstone, that he would give you the anti-magic field spell.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's not very much. The demons, usually the archdemon souls don't say very much. It's not like the souls in Dark Souls.
That's right. I think I was just getting them the two conflated.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a huge encounter, and I remember very specifically texting you, Gary, and saying, "Wow."
Yeah.
because of that scale factor that Bob mentioned, right?
Yeah, it's very impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, and but yeah, all too soon it is over.
Yeah.
And you've done those things with his souls, and you've beaten the Shrine of Storms.
Yeah. Which leaves us with one unexplored realm.
Yes. Yeah, which we will be doing next time, heading towards the Valley of Defilement.
Yeah.
In order to get plague and get plagued up.
Yeah.
Is there anyone who actually doesn't save that area for last? I know I always do. In fact, in my most recent playthrough, all I have to do is beat the Man-Eater before I have to go to 5-1.
Yeah, I've gone there to get the Blessed Mace before.
Oh, yeah.
Dipped into 5-1, but I've never gone further than that. Like, I always do it last, too. Partly, I like it thematically because I like Estrella so much, and I like that boss fight quite a bit. But, yeah, it's a slog.
I always dread it.
And I also noticed something, slight tiny bit off topic, but I also noticed I've been playing through things a little differently this time, and I noticed that you can actually get access to 1-4 really early.
Yeah.
Can you beat the game without having finished all the levels, or... I just was curious. I don't know if you guys know that or not.
No, you have to beat all the... Wait, well, how are you getting access to 1-4 really early? You can get access to 1-3.
Once you beat the Dragon God, you can open up 1-3, and you can beat 1-3 and go right to 1-4. I haven't gotten through much of 1-4, but right now I have to beat the Area 3 and Area 5, but 1-4 is available to me right now.
My experience is that the only hard fog gate is after 1-2. Where you have to beat an archdemon to get there. However, you can get to the False King in order to. I think you're right. I think he just counts as another archdemon, but you have to kill all 5 to open up the awesome glyph inscribed floor.
Yeah, there's another gate before that. Yeah.
Well, there's the one it's the one in the Nexus that you're walking around on.
Yeah.
Which once you kill, we didn't talk about it last time. But when you've killed 3 archdemons, it starts weakening when you're human. I love that effect.
Yeah,
it wobbles and it's so unnerving. I'm just
I completely forgot about that section.
And it's already pretty unnerving. It's pretty upsetting to walk on this very clearly clear surface, but with magical attributes that you are weakening. Right.
Yeah, but Wiggles that's enough for me. I would not do that.
Yeah, give me brick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing next episode. We're not exactly sure who we're going to be joined by.
Yep.
For that one, we're still working that out. Mm-hmm. But So Bob, plug it up.
Yes. I plug it up. Okay, you can find me. Go to retronauts.com to download Retronauts. We're also in the iTunes Music Store. If you like this show, you're gonna like Retronauts, I think. Or if you like anything else that Gary and Kole do, we sort of have the same kind of focus as Watch Out for Fireballs. Except you guys are way more focused than we are. We sort of take more broad topics than you.
There's so much room for both, though.
That's right. Yeah.
I love that you guys will do, this season, specifically, the video game violence one. Are some of my favorites, and I like that kind of zoomed out topic-based, feature-based podcasting is what I would call it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah.
I also do, I write for US Gamer, and I do some stuff for Games Radar, and I do a Calling for Something Awful. I've done that for a long-ass time, so if you enjoy that, I've got about, 170, I think, at this point, so...
And it's all
read
fantastic.
The back catalog.
For real.
Yeah, thank you.
And again, not to, I know Bob in real life now, so it's weird to effusively compliment him. But when I found, several of my favorite articles were by you before I knew who you were. So I talked about the Nintendo game rental instructions done by the place. That's one of my favorite things that's ever been on the internet. And then the most recently, that Weird Al Dear John letter thing is conceptual brilliance. I think that's really great.
Okay, yeah, I was worried that only I would find that fun, and that happens because there's no comment system on Something Awful, which is probably good.
Yeah,
so I never hear about anything. I never hear if anything works, if anyone hates anything. I just put it out there because I like it, and then occasionally someone will say on Facebook, "Oh, this is funny." So it's nice to hear in person that it worked.
Well, the premise is right up in the front. It's like a Mr. Show sketch, is what it reminded me of. Is that kind of a little bit way really far-fetched. You have to go really far to set it up, and then afterwards everything just kind of falls into place for it.
So I think I'm sort of a failed sketch performer. I never was good at performing, so I just sort of write all my sketch ideas out in different formats.
I mean,
Good stuff.
failed in a loose sense in that the stuff you write works. So
Yeah. I mean,
by which you mean successful.
yeah,
I just don't have the performance part down, or like the whole improv group training, whatever.
oh yeah.
If you want to call it.
So if you're recruiting for the Mixed Nuts Improv Group and you're looking for a new writer, grab Bob Mackey.
Yeah, I'm always available. But I think that's it. Sorry. This has been like let's talk about why I'm good.
No,
I'm
that's
fine
fine.
with that. Like, I'm
Yeah.
fine with talking about why Bob is good.
Yeah, and then by way of me and Kole, Bob talked about it, but we do watch out for fireballs, which is kind of a less zoomed in than this, but more zoomed in than a lot of podcasts look at an individual old game. Every time when you're listening to this, we're doing Fallout 2, and we're going to have at some point in the near future Chris Avalone on, which I'm super excited about.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do some other shows as well.
So Gary does Pilot Season, which is a variety show in the truest sense of the term. It is a new concept every single time, every 2 weeks. So tune in. If you don't like it, tune in 2 weeks from then, and then you will like it, I assure you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Also, check it out, Comrade, with Nick Glauber, which is a bite-sized indie game show that we just started up. It drops on Saturday, so check that out. I think at the time this comes out, the next episode will be about Amnesia and Rogue Legacy.
Yeah.
Amnesia, Machine for Pigs, and Rogue Legacy. So, which is a real good one. I have a lot of things to say about Machine for Pigs, which I'll still say with Kole.
Yeah.
I just need to wait for him to beat it. So, yeah, I still want to talk to Kole about that.
Yeah.
But I was so impatient that I helped start another show. Cole does a show called Those Damn Ross Kids with his brother. It's currently on hiatus, but it will be coming back. It has a very rich and evergreen backlog.
Yeah.
He also does a show called The Level, which is a video game kind of news audio magazine thing he does with some of his buddies. I've been on it before. There's been kind of special episodes. Bob was on a special episode about Gone Home.
Oh yeah, I love that.
Yeah, it's a very good show. And then also we do a show called Abject Suffering, which is our Bad Games podcast.
Yeah. And I would like to call everybody's attention to Hexcrank, which is my survival horror blog. I've put out an article about Haunted House for the 2600. And as you're listening to this, I've also done an episode about Ghost Banner, which is the worst thing.
It's not all glamour and glitz.
Nope.
In the world of independent media.
We take the good and then we take the bad.
Yeah, we take the... And then you have...
Yeah.
I can't remember what the third line is.
Yeah,
You take them both.
Take them both.
Which is kind of
Then you have-
redundant because in the first two lines you are taking both of them.
Yep. No.
Yeah, you
Come on,
take them
Facts of
both.
Life
You
theme
take them
song, Get
both.
it together.
So you get both of both. So there we go. Yeah.
As long as you have two of each.
It's like you take the milk, you take the eggs, then you take the milk and the eggs.
Yeah. Well, that's mayonnaise, right? Isn't that like that?
Oh, no.
You emulsify that shit. Yeah, but I think that's it for us. If you have anything to let us know about the Valley of Defilement or any corrections for this episode, please go to Duckfeed.tv/contact. And then ratings, reviews, our Amazon tip jar for holiday shopping is a huge help.
Yep.
Yeah. Anything else?
It has been forever since I've been human.
Yeah, and so the world might be mended.
So the world might be mended.
If only I
Umbasa.
had some friends.
Umbasa.
Umbasa, there you go. Thanks, Bob.
And we all pray that we will have far more soon